Shana Tova, Boker Tov, good morning. We're so glad to have you with us. And even though we can't be together in person, we still can be together as we celebrate Rosh Hashanah with this service. And Rosh Hashanah is a special day, and so we do special things to prepare ourselves for this day. One of the things I do is I wake up and get dressed, a little more dressed up than normal. I put on my talit, and on Rosh Hashanah, I eat a special treat of apples and honey for a sweet new year. So I want you to think about, what can you do today to make this day special? Maybe you're not going to get dressed up. Maybe you're even in your pajamas.
Hashanah Tova, Happy New Year. Hashanah Tova.
But maybe there's something special that you add to your clothes today. Or maybe you call your family or friends and wish them a Happy New Year, a Shana Tova. And by doing those things, together we can make this a special day and a Happy New Year.
We just heard the shofar. The shofar is like an alarm clock. It wakes us up. It gets us ready for the day. It rouses us from our sleep. It gets us ready to enter into a full day for Rosh Hashanah, a day of prayer, a day of being together, a day of thinking about how next year is going to be a wonderful year of blessing for us. So let us now be awake and let us praise God, who's to be praised, praising God, who's to be praised now and forever.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. Yala lai lai lai. 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 Yala lai lai lai.
Hear, O Israel, Adonai our God, Adonai is one. We are reminded that God is one as we are one, as the entire world and universe and all peoples are one. We love the Lord our God with all of our hearts, with all of our minds, with all of our souls.
Yai lai lai la 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai la 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 lai. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam, Leolam va'ed. Yai lai lai la 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 lai. Yai lai lai lai. Yai lai lai la 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 lai. Yai lai lai la 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 lai. Yai lai lai lai. Yai lai lai la 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 lai. shall teach your children to love and to know what is right. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
There once was a little boy named Jacob, and he loved to listen to the parents tell stories outside of the school each day. He overheard one mom saying that Joseph lost his retainer in the trash can, and another mom saying that she was going to take her daughter Rachel to Disney World and buy her the embroidered Mickey Mouse ears. The next day, when he went to school, he decided to retell all of these stories to his friends. On the bus, he turned to his friend and said, "I have such a great story to tell you. For Joseph's 10th birthday, he gets to go to Disney World. And Rachel's mom said that she has no teeth left." And then later, in line for lunch, Jacob turned to his friend Noah and said, "I have such a great story to tell you. Joseph is getting a hat with embroidered teeth on it. Can you believe it?" His friend Noah looked confused and continued walking away. That night, both Joseph and Rachel and their parents showed up at Jacob's house, and they stood there so angrily. "Is everything okay?" asked Jacob's father. "Nothing's okay. Jacob is spreading rumors about me," said Joseph. "Jacob said I had no teeth." "Jacob ruined Rachel's birthday surprise," said her mom. "This is not okay," said Joseph's dad. "But I was just telling stories," said Jacob. And on the playground the next day, none of his friends wanted to play with him. They were afraid he was going to tell stories about them too. And so Jacob went to the rabbi and asked what he should do. He said, "Rabbi, I made so many people upset and angry with me, and I want to tell them I'm sorry. I'll do anything to have my friends back." So the rabbi suggested that when Jacob went home that day, he would try to find a tube of toothpaste. And he said, "Go home and squeeze all of the toothpaste out into a bowl." Now Jacob thought this was a strange request, but he went home and did it anyway. And when he returned to school the next day, the rabbi asked how it had gone. Jacob said, "I squeezed all of the toothpaste out into the bowl, just like you said." And the rabbi said, "Go home and try to get that toothpaste back in the tube." Jacob said, "But Rabbi, everyone knows it's impossible to get toothpaste back in the tube after you squeeze it out." And the rabbi said, "So too with the stories we tell about other people. Whether they're mean stories or true stories or false stories, talking about other people is not okay. And once lashon hara, unkind words, leave our mouth, we can never take them back again." And so on this Rosh Hashanah, we consider how we can do better in the coming year, how we can keep ourselves from sharing unkind or untrue stories about other people, and hope that we can do better in the year to come.
Let's take a moment now for our own prayers, a silent prayer, the prayer of our hearts, our own thoughts about our hopes and wishes for a new year of blessing.
ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
The Torah is a book which we read over and over again, each and every year. But it is like a favorite book that we would have at home, that we would take down from our bookshelf and read once or twice, put it away and read it again. It's like a book that we have been read to by our parents. And then when we get older, we might read it to ourselves. And when we get still older, we might read it with new eyes. I have some favorite books. The Velveteen Rabbit, Charlotte's Web, The Little Prince. I read those as a child, and later on as a teenager or as a college student, and later on as an adult, and I read it then to my children. And each time I read it, it was different and had a different meaning. Not that the book had changed, but I had changed. And so it is when we read Torah. Each and every year, it's the same words, but the meaning changes because we grow. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. And it was in the beginning that God created the heavens and the earth. Haaretz hayta tohu vavohu, and the earth was meaningless and void. V'choshech al pnei tehom, and there was darkness upon the face of the deep. The ruach Elohim merachefet al pnei hamayim, and the Spirit of God hovered over the face of the waters. Vayomer Elohim yehi or, and God said, "Let there be light." Vayehi or, and there was light. Vayar Elohim et ha'or ki tov, and God saw that the light was good. Vayavdel Elohim bein ha'or uvein ha'choshech, and God separated between the light and the darkness. Vayikra Elohim la'or yom, and God called the light day. V'lechoshech kara laila, and the darkness God called night. Vayhi erev, vayhi voker, yom echad, and there was evening and there was morning, the first day.
Today is Rosh Hashanah, the day we call the birthday of the world. And the story that we just read from our Torah reminds me a lot of a story that you may already know, a story about celebrating each and every one of our birthdays. What do you do on your birthday to make it special? You may eat cake and celebrate with family and friends. On Rosh Hashanah, we celebrate with loud blasts of the Shofar, by singing special songs and offering special prayers. And so this morning, I'd like to share with you this story on the night you were born. On the night you were born, the moon smiled with such wonder that the stars peeked in to see you, and the night wind whispered, "Life will never be the same," because there had never been anyone in the world ever like you. So enchanted with you were the wind and the rain that they whispered the sound of your wonderful name. The sound of your name is a magical one. Let's say it out loud before we go on. It sailed through the farmland high on the breeze, over the ocean and through the trees, until everyone heard it and everyone knew of the one and only ever you. Not once had there been such eyes, such nose, such silly, wiggly, wonderful toes. In fact, I think I'll count to 3 so you can wiggle your toes for me. When the polar bears heard, they danced until dawn. From faraway places, the geese flew home. The moon stayed up until morning next day, and none of the ladybugs flew away. So whenever you doubt just how special you are, and you wonder who loves you, how much and how far, listen for the geese honking high in the sky. They're singing a song to remember you by. Or notice the bears asleep at the zoo. It's because they've been dancing all night for you. Or drift off to sleep to the sound of the wind. Listen closely, it's whispering your name again. If the moon stays up until morning one day, or a ladybug lands and decides to stay, or a little bird sits at your window a while, it's because they're all hoping to see you smile. For never before in story or rhyme, not even once upon a time, has the world ever known a you, my friend, and it never will, not ever again. Heaven blew every trumpet and played every horn on the wonderful, marvelous night you were born.
All over the world today, people are blowing their shofars in celebration of Rosh Hashanah. We usually look so forward to hearing the sound of the shofar together, but since that wasn't possible this year, Rabbi Gordon, Rabbi Carly, and I went all over Chicago, Evanston, and Wilmette blowing our shofars, hoping that maybe you would hear one of us. While we sing the shofar song, see if you can spot or recognize any of the locations where we are.
I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Have a happy, happy, happy New Year. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Have a happy, happy, happy New Year. Shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Have a happy, happy, happy New Year. Have a happy, happy, happy New Year. Have a happy, happy, happy New Year. Tekiah Gedolah.
Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May Adonai bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May God's light shine upon you, and may God be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha V'yasem lecha shalom. May Adonai's countenance be lifted up upon you and grant you peace.
Shana Tova, Happy New Year. Shana Tova, Healthy New Year. Shana Tova, Sweet